Kazakhstan has chosen the multi-vector integration. Its trends, collisions, and prospects are coming up in the Single Market Program.
Today in the program, integration trends, SAP Digital Solutions, Italian motifs in Tajik light industry. Form is no less important than content. Hello, I am Yerke Bulan Bikmuhambet. You're watching the Single Market Program. Despite the collisions that accompany the formation of the Eurasian Economic Union, the integration process is gradually moving forward. Our observer, Alexander Galiev, took the conclusions that have been made recently by the Center for Macroeconomic Analysis and Short-Term Forecasting of the Russian Academy of Sciences for the starting point of this thesis. So, what was the last year for the EAEU in terms of trade, and what are the prospects of the integration union from the experts' point of view? Belarus. In 2017, the volume of foreign trade of the Republic grew by 21.5%. The export of goods increased by 21.7%. Armenia. Exports grew by 25.2%. The bulk of this volume is accounted for by trade within the EAEU. Kyrgyzstan. Foreign trade turnover increased by 12.5%. Exports grew by 13.8%. Russia. The volume of foreign trade increased by 24.7%. Exports grew by 24.8%. Kazakhstan. The volume of supply of goods to foreign markets increased by 31.6%. By these numbers, it is easy to notice that all the countries of the EAEU rather actively sold and delivered their products to foreign markets last year. Now let's move on to such indicators as gross domestic product. In terms of prospects, the most favorable forecast for 2018 experts give to Kyrgyzstan. It is expected that GDP growth in the Republic will amount to 4.2%. Then comes Kazakhstan, 3.7%. Armenia, by the end of the year, GDP is expected to increase by 3%. Belarus, 2.6%. And Russia's GDP can show a growth of 2%. To make the picture more complete, I will note the key integration trends that are observed this year. First of all, it is the functioning of the new customs code, then the development of a plan of measures to eliminate exemptions and restrictions on the internal market of the EAEU, which are included in the so-called White Paper. The next important point is the formation of a common digital agenda, the transition of technical regulation from the national level to the supranational one, making adjustments and developing new technical regulations for certain types of goods and services. A very significant event is the introduction of a new format of a dialogue between the Eurasian Economic Commission and the EAEU businesses in the framework of the public reception. And as a long-term positive trend, we note the process of intensification of trade and economic cooperation of integration cooperation with third countries. At the meeting of the Higher Eurasian Economic Council, which was held in Sochi in May, Moldova received the status of observer country in the EAEC. And almost afterward, two quite important documents were signed at the Astana Economic Forum. This is an interim agreement on the creation of a free trade zone between the EAEU and Iran, as well as the agreement on large-scale and diversified cooperation between the EAEU and China. According to experts, these agreements will serve as a good impetus for the development of trade turnover between Iran, China, and the countries of the Eurasian Economic Union. That is it for today. Alexander Galiev has been reporting. Digitalization is a global trend that today covers all spheres of society one way or another. As for the Eurasian Economic Union, this process is carried out in two directions: the national programs of the partner countries for integration and step-by-step synchronization of actions at the level of the unified strategy of the EAEU. How to combine these two vectors? To find out about this, I've talked to experts who have experience working in the development and implementation of digital platforms on the territory of the Integration Union. To begin with, a few words about the fact that Kazakhstan approved its state program for digitalization last year. Since we're talking about the global transformation, the beneficiary of this program will be the business community, which is the driver of the economy. Its implementation will ensure the development of digital infrastructure, IT ecosystem in the country. Using digital technology, we're going to increase labor productivity by 50% in the manufacturing industry over 5 years. In addition to participating in the implementation of the national program, the business community of Kazakhstan is actively studying and adopting the experience of digital solutions that has already been accumulated in the territory of the EAEU countries. Guided by this principle, leading experts working in the Eurasian Economic Union market gathered in early summer in the Kazakh capital at the annual business conference SAP Forum Astana. This time the meeting was held under the slogan, "To see more." So what opportunities can be seen with digital solutions and services? The ability to use new technologies, the ability to analyze huge amounts of data and draw on them some conclusions, the ability to use data from sensors of an infinite number of these sensors, the ability to analyze data that was previously disparate and could be combined into one structure, all this allows you to see more here and now. In terms of enterprise applications, digital platforms from the German company SAP are considered one of the world leaders in the profile market. It can be called a pioneer in the market of ERP systems of the post-Soviet space. In the beginning, SAP solutions appeared in Russia. Among the first customers were large companies of the raw materials industry.
The major benefit that we see in leveraging our software is company experiencing a step change in productivity, a significant improvement in their productivity because their business process become automated, integrated, as well as through a better business visibility, the ability to make faster and better decisions.
In Kazakhstan, SAP platforms have been introduced since 1997. Traditionally, the first to master them were the largest national companies that specialized in exploration and mining. Gradually, the list is replenished and new solutions and services have introduced other sectors of the Kazakh economy, banks, post, telecommunications, railway transport. Digital solutions can be very different. For example, one of the largest Kazakh companies which specializes in the storage and supply of pharmaceutical products uses the ERP system in its warehouses. ERP system allows you to combine management accounting, sales system, procurement, logistics, this is necessarily planning, etc. Since every company determines for itself the necessary vectors that they need to develop. But in this case, we are at the stage of development when they turn their attention to the logistics services.
В данном случае мы находимся на том этапе развития, когда мы обратили свое внимание именно на логистические услуги.
And here is how you can use the digital system when transporting goods. For example, from point A to point B, there is a caravan of goods. And on the route, there may be some natural disaster in the form of a landslide, flood, or snowdrift. In this case, in order to predict the situation, you can apply the machine learning system, which, having processed the entire collected database, will give out the optimal solution.
Там достаточно простой интерфейс, доступный для человека, который может пользоваться Excel.
There's a fairly simple interface available for a person who can use Excel, Word, and conventional tools. He, using these models, using this data, can analyze and teach the system to give predictions.
И научить эту систему на этих данных, это называется машинное обучение, он обучает ее, и она после этого начинает давать предсказания.
The new customs code of the EAEU digital platforms allow efficiently sending out various resources throughout the territory of the integration space. One of the most anticipated SAP projects is the global tracking of commodity and cash flows. And this initiative is being considered by the Eurasian Economic Commission. This is the possibility of a cross-country to trace the movement of a particular product, to ascertain its origin, to make sure of the correctness and payment of all taxes, to protect the country from unauthorized imports and from double taxation. And instead of commentary, let us recall once again the slogan under which SAP Forum Astana was held in Kazakhstan. To see more means using digital solutions and services to take accurate and beneficial management approaches to see their future through their prism. One of the requirements for those engaged in the production and export of food is the availability of packaging material. This is the case when the form is no less important than the content. Since we are talking about such a mass consumer product as a food product, Anar Tastanbekova will tell us how it became possible to become an exporter, producing packaging, and which of the international financial institutions helped the Kazakh enterprise in development. In order to be a sustainable company in the market, especially in the export one, the manufacturer has to seriously work not only on the quality of products, but also to ensure that it is worthy to be presented in form. I mean well packaged. Kazakh experts estimated that the Republic's demand for packaging materials today is 500 tons of units per month. With the growth of production, this number will increase. It is necessary to take into account that today consumers of packaging materials are not only trading enterprises. Our customers are supermarket chains, production sites, logistics centers, transport companies, private companies that manufacture packaging, construction materials, equipment, as well as do storage and transportation of products. Intel Pack plant has been operating in the profile market of Kazakhstan for 7 years. Its production capacity is 200 tons of products per month. This is 40% of all the needs of the Republic. Here they produce such packaging products as stretch film, adhesive tape, packaging tape, and sealing materials. The range of goods is quite extensive, more than 20 items. And every kind of product is on demand among manufacturers of goods and services. For example, stretch film is used for transportation of bulky goods. This material will replace the obsolete cardboard boxes, since stretch film is more reliable, ergonomic, lighter, and much cheaper. The company has its own team of engineers and designers, which constantly works on improving the products, making it competitive not only in the domestic, but also in the foreign market. We have been supplying to Kyrgyzstan for a long time. It became easier to sell to Uzbekistan. We sell it there, and to Russia too. By the way, Russia is one of the most promising markets for this enterprise. Firstly, due to the large customer base. Secondly, due to the geographical proximity and cross-border neighborhood. And thirdly, due to the conditions of profitable export to the territory of the Eurasian Economic Union. Due to less expensive labor and energy resources, we can compete with Russian suppliers. We have an office in Moscow through which we supply and sell products in Russia. In 2014, thanks to support from the International Financial Institute, this enterprise had new opportunities for development. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, in the beginning, provided consulting services in the areas of certification, equipment adjustment, and staff development. And having conducted internal audit and financial reporting, it provided a loan in the amount of 700 million tenge for expansion of production.
Intel
Pack is an example of a company in the processing sector that the EBRD would like to work with. And when I say work, then I mean not only investment, but working with the company, its skills. Working on improving skills, corporate governance, internal processes, strategy to bring the company to the international level. The funds were allocated for 5 years with the possibility of further increase in the amount and prolongation. The enterprise has spent the received means for construction of office premises, railway deadlock, and acquisition of warehouse premises. And this allowed the plant to optimize the storage and transport logistics of its products. The goods that we have transported through other companies now will be delivered directly. This will allow us to reduce overhead costs and increase the availability of products for our clients. By the way, for the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, this was the first experience in Kazakhstan with a client from a small business segment, since it usually considered projects with a loan of at least $10 million. Having received support from the International Financial Institute, this enterprise is going to master one more direction, the release of plastic packaging. This will enable the Kazakh manufacturer of packaging materials to enter a new stage of development and expand the geography of exports of its products. Anar Tastanbekova, Anatoly Valuski, especially for the single market. Central Asia. Countries that belong to this region are linked not only by their historical roots and cultural ties, but also by their prospects in the economy. Therefore, it is important for Kazakhstan to know what is happening in this or that branch from a neighbor in the region. We asked which segment of Tajikistan's economy is the most attractive from the point of view of creating a value chain. And that's what our special correspondent in Tajikistan, Olim Khushvakhtov, told us. This enterprise is located in the Sugd region of Tajikistan. It was established in the mid-90s. Despite the difficulties experienced by the Republic during this period, Italian investors showed interest in the project to create a full cycle of production in the light industry. Their expectations were connected, first of all, with the cotton industry in Tajikistan. Today, they process up to 1,300 tons of cotton fiber and produce up to 1.5 million pieces of garments.
Основной сырье для нашего предприятия является хлопок-волокно, которое мы закупаем.
The main raw material is cotton, which is produced in the Sugd region. Since we are engaged in processing, we have established a phased release of cotton fiber and finished products. There are spinning, weaving, and sewing manufacturers.
Производство по поэтапной переработке хлопка-волокна. Это прядальное производство, ткацкое производство, производство по отделке тканей, швейное производство.
The noise of the machines does not stop here day and night. The enterprise operates in 3 shifts. The main staff consists of women. Most of them have been working here since the foundation of this factory. By the way, many of them have been retrained from housewives to workers of one of the most successful productions in Tajikistan. Only in our sewing shop, there are about 400 women. We have created good working conditions here, so everyone is happy. Judging by the models, it becomes clear for which consumer audience the clothes are designed and sewed. And the very name of the enterprise, Yavon, in translation from Tajik means youth. We do everything to ensure that our consumers wear very comfortable and at the same time fashionable clothes. Therefore, we follow all the novelties of the world fashion and in the market of fabrics and design ideas. Every month, we develop 2 to 3 types of fabric and more than 20 models. Thanks to the high quality of fabrics and tailoring, good cut and modern design of products, this company managed to occupy a niche in the export market. The one that is spoiled by the offer from leading manufacturers of clothes. We supply to European countries more than 97% of the products we produce at our enterprise. As the creators of this project are Italian managers, our quality meets all the requirements of world standards. The competitiveness of products in the European market motivates the company to continue developing. Here they believe that a new stage is beginning for their factory. This pleases us. We want to grow, so we are preparing for change. We will expand the range of our products and increase production volumes. The path of this enterprise serves as a graphic illustration when there is a well-thought-out business plan that takes into account all the nuances of production, the source of investments, the availability of raw materials, labor market resources, and a potential export niche. The success of the project is guaranteed. Olim Khushvakhtov, Kurban Karimov, Tajikistan, Sugd region, especially for the Single Market Program.
На сегодня это все. С вами...
That's it for today. Yerkebulan Bekmuhammed has been reporting. See you soon in the Single Market Program.
В программе Single Market.